then they end up dead, and then they end up on drugs, and then they end up not making it happen, and then 5 or 6 other people are victimized behind them. So when I'm seeing this situation as a grown adult man, and The Wire is a show that never does any favors for you. It makes you lift the mental and emotional weight yourself. It doesn't give you a rosy look at the end of anything. I happen to think, wow, there's a Wallace out there right now, and he's not gonna get to the NBA. He don't run a 4.3. It's not gonna happen. It's a coin toss about whether or not he gets to a place of stability where he can help people, or whether or not 2 or 3 other generations of victimized coming right behind him. And so to me, it just holds so much weight. And I think about Simons and Burns, having seen these stories play out over and over and over again, the method that they felt to deliver them to the people, it was really affecting television. And this was a really, really, this episode right here is one of those grabbers to me.
Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, as we know, Van, is that there's way more Wallaces than LeBron James. It's why
Right.
I say this jokingly and with great reverence and great respect, that LeBron James was built in a lab. And I don't just say that because of his physical gifts, being 6'8", 260-ish, he's vacillated since he's gained and lost weight throughout his career. But it's not just because of his talent, but it is because there was nothing in the way he grew up that ever suggested he would ever become what he did. It's one of the greatest, if not arguably the greatest American sports story we've ever heard of. For a kid to have moved 11 times, his mother, I believe, was 14 years old when she had him. And to come from that and all her struggles, that poverty, him moving around, for him to even graduate high school, much less get on a track to become a billionaire, it's ridiculous. And I agree with you. The problem is that with those stories, and this is not to get off on too much of a tangent, but with those stories, people start thinking overcoming poverty is easy. And they not only start to think that it's easy, they start to think that they start to normalize it and say, oh, no, no, this is the way, this is how you earn the American dream. This is how you do that. It's like you just overcome. And they never look at what is it that put them there or why these circumstances are so pervasive. And part of my frustration even now, even though I think, we're all under the specter of COVID and we're dealing with that. But one particular frustration I have is that we're all clapping and cheering and rooting on our healthcare officials. They deserve this. They deserve all the praise, all the credit, everything else. But when this is over, we will not take a look at the healthcare system that put them in that position to begin with. We will not look at the inequality, and we will not look at the inequity. We will just take it as it just being the rule rather than understanding that this is a gross exception to what happened and we need to deal with the problem. What happened to Wallace is the common story. That's what happens to people who are in that situation. And we get to lying to ourselves and thinking they all wind up like LeBron, and they don't. And so from a sense of reality, I was thankful for Wallace's story to counter this constant narrative and trope as if poverty is something that can be easily overcome. Poverty, inequity, inequality, these things you cannot achieve your way out of these things. And we have stupidly believed that lie. You can't. And so what we see very much with Wallace is that there is, in a way, it's kind of depressing despite the realism. But the more you learn about this life, and you learn so much about his life in this one, the more you realize that this story only ends one way. Even before I knew how it ended, I knew how it ended,
Right.
And so it's just kind of a sad resignation to it. But throughout this, though, I appreciated how they positioned Wallace's innocence against the harder world that he was in, even though it was only bits and pieces. Because if you think about all the moments that he has on there, like the McDonald's conversation, playing with the toys, even not being able to count, is that he was always a really nice, stark counterbalance to Bodie, to D'Angelo, to even Poot, to show you that, these are still children that we're dealing with, and they don't know a whole lot.
Yeah. And in a very simple message, I mean, not everybody is good at being bad. I mean, like
You
not
said
like
everything I said, but smarter and quicker.
no, I'm just saying. Like, I mean, it's like not everybody is good at being bad, And Wallace just turned out to just not be good at being bad. It just really wasn't for him. I do want to say one thing before we move off Wallace with the LeBron James thing. Now that we have a whole bunch of time, let's go ahead and uh, agree on what LeBron James's vital stats are. Because it goes, bruh. I'm sick of hearing, hey, man, look, I'll tell you why LeBron better than Jordan. Because who can move like that at 6'9", 375 pounds, 0.14? I'm like, dog, it goes from LeBron literally, depending on who you talk to, LeBron goes from 6'9", 280, okay,
Damn.
to six. I've heard people say he's 275. How you move like that? Like 6'9", and sometimes he's 6'8", 250. That's if he has a bad game. If he has a good game, he's 6'9", 425 pounds with a seven. Look, figure it out. He's big and he's fast, but I need people to figure out exactly what it is. This is it. After this, we got all of this no NBA. I want to hear from LeBron. I want to hear from all of them.
What are your measurements?
What's your deal? Like right now, I don't want to keep doing this, man.
Yeah,
like,
but if I had to take a guess, he's 6'8", 240-ish. That's my guess. That's my guess.
Dude is he's 6'8", 250. Exactly. That's where he's at. But watch the next time he dunked from like the third dot or something like that. How can he fly at 6'9", 725 pounds? Come on, bro.
You know who I hear that about very frequently is they do the same thing with Zion. They do the same thing.
But
Zion is either like the lowest I've heard is 270 and the highest I've heard is like 315. I was like, oh, okay, hold up. Like what?
Yeah, but Zion, the difference with Zion is he's actually 1,200 pounds.
Like, now I know. It's
the difference with him is Zion's 6'1", 1,200 pounds with a 70-inch vertical leap. I've never seen anything like. Okay, we've gotten off on a tangent.
Yes, but it's okay. It's a good tangent. One thing, right. One final thing. It's a statement / question that I have for you. Mm-hmm. Did you think about or did you find it at all interesting that D'Angelo, he has some sympathy for Wallace taking Brandon's death as hard as he is, for sure, but it was interesting to me that he didn't have more sympathy for him, considering, didn't he literally just go through the same thing with Reginald Gant? I mean, he may not have, but it was very similar, where once the police start saying, hey man, this dude didn't do nothing, it was your fuck up that did it, just because he simply saw you, is his crime was he ran into your ass in the elevator on the wrong day. So it just was interesting to me that he couldn't connect the dots there.
I think there's a difference. I think even though D'Angelo is as free thinking as he is in the world that he exists in, there's a difference. The difference is Reginald Gant didn't really do anything. Reginald Gant was just a working man. Brandon robbed the stash house. So with D'Angelo, would he have liked to have seen Brandon get done like that? Probably not. But at the same time, in the game, which Reginald Gant was not in the game, the working man, you know what I mean? In the game, D'Angelo probably looks at it like, look, you know, so he says it in the episode, you know, sometimes you got to send a message. If you're going to be a drug dealer, especially an upper level drug dealer, upper level to middle management drug dealer like D'Angelo Barksdale is, you got to live with the fact that, you know, sometimes you got to break a couple of eggs. You know, that's the way that goes. So in that particular situation, I think that might have been the distinction that he made.
Yeah. I mean, and then maybe I guess the way he was able to sort of live with it to a degree was looking at it as if Reginald Gant had brought that on himself.
Right.
Because, yeah, he made the mistake of accidentally running into him in the elevator, but yeah, he didn't accidentally testify against him. He made the choice to actually do that. And so, yeah, I mean, maybe that was part of it too. So what did you think were the best scenes from this episode?
Omar identifying Brandon's body.
Yeah, that was my number one scene from this episode.
My number one scene. I'll tell you why. There are a couple of the scenes that I like. I just think, as far obviously the opening scene with Wallace and the kids is a fantastic scene. Tells you so much about the character. I love this. The two coolest moments that Avon Barksdale has One of them is in this particular episode. There's another cool moment. I'm not going to spoil it for people, but it's a ridiculously cool moment where you can just see how powerful he is. But when he walks through the court and it's kind of that slow mo belly, steady, are you ready? And he's flanked with the guys, and you just see kind of how he's peeping everything. He's watching the street, blah 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 blah. You see how everybody kind of stands up straight when he comes through. It's like Obama walking into the cracked out White House or something like that. Not that Obama's White House was cracked out, because I know that they'll take that and it'll be the next evaluation says it was cracking the Obama White House. No, I'm saying he was the Obama of that situation. You could see the way he moved. He had that walk. But the best scene is when McNulty, during the scene where McNulty's with his kids, he ends up taking his kids along with Omar to identify Brandon's body. It is the first time and one of the only times you see something in The Wire, which is an expression of pure love. The one thing that you don't see in The Wire as much is just love. You see obsession, you see longing, you see regret, you see anger, but Omar loved this boy. He loved him. That wasn't just his little Saturday night thing. That was his lover, his boyfriend, his companion, the other part of him. And man, shout out to Michael K. Williams, who really gets it in that scene. He sees Brandon, he cannot even take it. And then when he lets that scream out, the release that you can hear of all the anguish and how they did that, it just shows you that this was a deep connection that these two people have. And I can't think of too many other times in the series where it talks about just a personal, deep connection between people and the way that influences the movements they make. There's maybe one other time Bubbles goes through something a couple of seasons from now, maybe one other time, but this particular time, I'm like, that was his whole heart, and he just watched his whole heart get mangled and ripped apart.
Yeah, you felt his anguish, and I thought it was terrific with how he brought that humanity to the show, but also to the fact that we're talking about a gay couple. And
Yeah.
I don't think those displays of humanity, and certainly not some of the affection that we've seen Omar give to Brandon in the early part of this season, like these things were not the norm on television at all, and especially in the kind of macho environment and world that Omar is in, for him to have this reaction to his lover being killed, I thought was um, one of the most poignant and stark and just like a really critical moment. Interesting reading the backstory on that in All the Pieces Matter, the book by Jonathan Abrams, which, by the way, Lester actually says that in this episode when he tells Prez all the pieces matter when they're determining some of the things to take from the wiretap. Is originally the director did not want Michael K. Williams to play it that way. That they wanted him to do it more gangster style and to not show a lot of emotion. And it was a creative fight, if you will, between I think it was the director of the photography and the actual director. And they decided, I guess the director of photography just said to Michael K. Williams, I think that people will want to see some humanity here. And he sort of took in both of their input and made it into what we saw. Is that Omar was still very much a G with how he responded to this, but he wanted in that moment to communicate the level of love that he had for him. And as you said, so that people would disavow the notion that this was just, this was just some careless affair for him. It was much, kind of deeper than that. As I said at the top of this podcast, of course, what episode would be complete without the crackhead adventures of Batman and Robin, of Johnny and Bubs, as they take their shit to another level. They just resourceful, man. I mean, they're resourceful.
They are.
Yeah, they are.
I'm gonna be. You know what? I gotta be honest with you. Johnny is a bad influence on Bubbles, man.
You ain't never lied.
like Johnny went away, got that ass waxed. He was in, and when he came out, Bubbles had a job. Bubbles was selling fruit. So just so y'all know, Johnny was away, relaxing with his feet up, getting over, kind of getting beat up. He's got a colostomy bag and all of that stuff like that now. And when he comes back, we see Bubbles. Bubbles is actually working, at a straight job selling fruit. Bubbles keeps trying to get right. Johnny not only comes and tricks Bubbles, not tricks Bubbles, but convinces Bubbles to get in with a copper stealing scam. He steals fruit from the fucking fruit stand that Bubbles is working at. Johnny is a bad influence on Bubbles. You know what? If not for Johnny, Bubbles might have had like 3 kids, and I wonder if Johnny is the one that got Bubbles hooked on the dope in the first place. I don't know. Probably not because he's much younger. But Bubbles was doing okay, straight days work, and all of a sudden he back out there ripping and running with Johnny and Huck. Huck just came out of nowhere. That was just Johnny. Just we just see Huck all of a sudden. Huck is just a dope fiend that Johnny just picked up somewhere.
But you're so right about this because they sort of position their relationship as if Bubs is schooling him on the game, right? Trying to teach him how to be. Bubs is the epitome of work smarter, not harder. That's what Bubs is trying to do, and Johnny is the opposite, right? He will try 25 foolish things that will, all of which will probably give him within a hair step of being killed, and it does not at all convince him to maybe recalibrate his plan, to maybe think it out a little better. He just comes up with dumber and dumber plans. And somehow this is all very impressionable on Bubs. He knows the schemes are ultimately dumb, but he still goes along with it anyway. And Johnny is just so excited whenever he's finally able to pull off one of his foolish, dumbass plans. And I feel bad for Bubs, who, despite his addiction issues, has to be saddled with a complete moron. Bubs is better than that. He's as a dope fiend. He better than that. But I did think that when they sold the copper to the construction guy, that I would also put that in the bucket of best reflection of real life, only in the sense, and this is what I loved about The Wire in general, is that The Wire gave us a panoramic view of the drug trade. It wasn't one group benefiting over another. It was showing how everybody was complicit. So this Mr. Upstanding construction guy who is trying to complete some project is not above, for the sake of profit, buying copper from a crackhead and not caring where he got it from, what he had to do to get it, and for that matter, the feeding he's feeding the habit he's feeding rather. So everybody is complicit in the drug trade, even the fucking construction guy.
Yeah, you know what? That's real. I might have lived with somebody at one point, somebody that had a very important role in my rearing and upbringing. Someone that might have raised a lot of people who look like me, and that once went and bought a skill saw uh, for $15. And I remember talking to this man who also happens to look a lot like me. Some people say he looks exactly like me. He's about 25 years older. And I remember looking at this man and going, why did you buy a skill saw from that guy? And this man could not hide his glee in having, he owned a construction company. He was one of the most upstanding people I've ever known before. I get home and my mother goes, that skill saw is hot. I'm like, what you mean hot? Hot how? It's not hot. We haven't even turned it on yet. She goes, it's hot. Somebody stole the skill saw and then sold it to this guy who I'm not going to tell you exactly who he is, but I guess you guys can guess who he is. So that is so real. Like the hood is not, there's no way to escape it. And I just want everyone to know this. There's no way to get out of it, right? Nas has a lyric, the dope kept the hood from starving, right? And whereas I didn't grow up in a place where it was that severe, I did grow up in a place where the white t-shirt that you might be wearing, you might have bought it on a discount, okay? The cell phone that you might be using, that they would say, hey, only use the cell phone like after 5 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever. The cell phone that you might use, all of these things are floating around in the ecosystem and in the economy of places like this. So that guy who's in there doing that construction project, his bottom line is to the people that he's contracting for. And the cheapest price he can get them means that he's going to be able to come back and get another contract from somewhere else for another great price. And so if Bubbles is coming through with the copper, number one, he knows he can short Bubbles because it's not a real negotiation. And number two, he didn't come up. But I like about Bubbles. Bubbles realized he was being used because after that scene, they take the copper, they go get high. Bubbles tops off with one more, and it was almost as if Bubbles says, "I'm gonna top off with one more. Can I have one more?" He tops off with the one more, or whatever. He's sitting down, or maybe this was before he topped off, and he says in a heroin uh, sort of infused stupor, "You know what we gonna do? We gonna go back and rip all of that copper out since that guy tried to lowball us, and we gonna sell it somewhere else." So for Bubbles, heroin is not just an addiction; it's like a performance enhancing drug. Like it made him smarter. He got high on heroin, and like if I smoke some weed, I don't have a coherent thought. I can't do nothing. Like Bubbles was on heroin, thinking of more scams. Man, I'm telling you, Bubbles the best addict ever, man. I'm
Best
telling you.
addict and best snitch, huh? He's both.
Both, and the best addict, the best snitch, and then the best recovery story. Man, don't hate on Bubbles in the Wire Power Rankings, which we're gonna get to at some point. Bubbles top five all time, man.
Ooh, all right. I can dig it. I can pick up what you're putting down. I also say, when you were talking about the hood commerce, essentially, I didn't know it was two things I didn't know were illegal until I got to college. I didn't know that it was illegal to. I knew like being drunk and driving was illegal, but I didn't know it was actually illegal to consume liquor in your car. I had no idea because virtually every adult I knew, and I don't think it's just a Detroit thing, but I don't know. It seems like Detroit is more conducive to this because when you go
Okay.
into the party store, we call them party stores. You go to a party store there, they're all liquor stores. They give you whatever you want and they ask you, do you want a cup of ice to go with it? Because the assumption is you
Oh
gonna
my
drink.
God,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Right. We
Detroit
from
is so
Louisiana, so you know.
Detroit. No, no, no. I don't. We ain't never done that.
What?
Detroit is so fucked. I got sort of outreach center for Detroit. Like
When you were talking about the hood commerce, essentially, I didn't know it was two things I didn't know were illegal until I got to college. I didn't know that it was illegal to. I knew like being drunk and driving was illegal, but I didn't know it was actually illegal to consume liquor in your car. I had no idea because virtually every adult I knew, and I don't think it's just a Detroit thing, but I don't know. It seems like Detroit is more conducive to this because when you go
okay.
into the party store, we call them party stores. You go to a party store there, they're all liquor stores. They give you whatever you want and they ask you, do you want a cup of ice to go with it? Because the assumption is you
Oh
gonna
my
drink.
God,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Right. We
Detroit
from
is so
Louisiana, so you know.
Detroit. No, no, no. I don't. We ain't never done that.
What?
Detroit is so fucked. I got sort of outreach center for Detroit. We gotta really do some mentorships. We go and we drink. They don't say, but that is. Do you realize in the last two episodes? I just want you to know. I don't know. I don't know. Like we have talked about. It, so you go to Detroit and they ask you if you want a cup of ice to drink the shit outdoors. Nah, y'all. I thought we had it. Detroit is off the fucking meat rack.
Oh, and not only that, any liquor you could get in a shot form, and they keep them. They'll say, "Do you want it chilled?" And then if you say, like, if you go in there and get a pint of Hennessy, right? They'll say, "Do you want it chilled?" You say yes. They go to the refrigerator. They get you a pint of chilled Hennessy. They put it in a bag. Then they ask cup of ice. Most times, a lot of times, you say yes. They put a cup of. They give you a cup of ice, and you about your way because the assumption is you're going to drink it in the car. That's why I know the shit was illegal because it's offered to you in the store. So I had no idea that open alcohol container was a thing. I was like, oh, that's illegal.
Wow.
The other thing I didn't know was I didn't know it was illegal to buy hot shit. Didn't know this because
Oh yeah.
we have been buying hot shit for so long. I mean, my mother, she wasn't overt with it, but I mean, as a kid, like I had video game systems. You know who always had the best video games? The crackheads in the neighborhood. Instead of paying $50, $60 for them, you get that shit for $10. $10 for double dribble?
They-
Hello?
yeah. They had to have the guy. They had to have the sheriffs come to the school and tell us you can't buy anything that was stolen. I remember like the sheriffs, like in Baton Rouge, the sheriffs would come to the school and they would be like, "Don't do crack," and then they would show you. They would always show us athletes that we couldn't really relate to. Like at that point, it was they showed us a video with Richard Petty, like driving around a NASCAR track talking about don't do drugs. It was like, who is this motherfucker? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna do dope just because he say he's not gonna do. I'm gonna do dope because my uncle is 114 pounds. But for them, they had. I remember there was a specific thing. They were like, "Yo, just to let you know, it's not only wrong to steal, but if you have something that's stolen, that's wrong too." I was like, God damn, for real? Like I thought they had just made that rule. I was like, they changing everything. It's going too far. But yeah, so back to the show. But yeah, Bubbles, Bubbles kind of he gets back into it, and like I said, once again, whenever Bubbles takes one foot forward, Johnny seems to yank that foot back for him, man.
Also, I thought, Rawls had not Rawls, Daniel. Sorry, he had a lot of important movement in this. As I mentioned earlier, I thought one of the biggest developments, other than Wallace and seeing how he lives, and I would add as a third, maybe of the cops turning Omar into their snitch. Which wait, well. Between Omar and Bubbles, you would still give Bubbles. Omar was a kind of an excellent snitch too, you know.
Yeah, but Omar didn't really love the snitch life.
I mean, he didn't
See what I'm
commit to
saying?
it the way Bubbles did, like with
He
the
was a
hats and shit.
revenge. Yeah, Omar was a revenge snitch. He was a lover scorn snitch. You know what I mean? Omar snitched as part of his code. Bubbles kind of snitched for the same reason initially, but Bubbles also had a whole snitch economy. You know what I mean? Bubbles had it. I see what you mean. Omar put down a murder. He definitely did. He helped him get a murder. But when you think about it, Bubbles took out a couple of different organizations. You know what I mean? Bubbles was not just used against the Barksdales. Bubbles was once again activated and weaponized in the future against the next big organization that's going to take over West Baltimore. So, Omar had some moments, some snitch moments, which is another just fascinating aspect of his character, being that he still was looked at as the most gangster, and he openly worked with the police department. Once again, I'll say this: Omar Little openly worked with the police department. So it's just another remarkable aspect of his character, that he gets so much love when that's a thing for him.
Yeah, I mean, he was unapologetic about it because, even in this where he riding around with Keeman McNulty, they're like, "Well, don't you want to like hide?" Or he's like, "What do you tell Keeman? Omar don't scare." He's like,
Omar don't scare.
he don't give a fuck about them being seen
Right.
with them, and he wants to flaunt being a snitch so he can eventually. His hope is that eventually he'll get to rub this in Avon Barksdale's face so he could know exactly who was responsible for putting the bracelets on him or anybody that was, also close to him as well. So Omar vowing revenge is a major moment in here and how he choose to exercise at least one part of his overall revenge. Sweet Jesus, I'ma work him. So, which is one of the
Mm-hmm.
best lines in the Wire's entire series. There's some other really great lines in this one because your boy, I think it was your boy D'Angelo who said, "Revenge, sweet Jesus, I'ma work him." So, which is one of the
Mm-hmm.
best lines in the Wire's entire series. There's some other really great lines in this one because your boy, I think it was your boy D'Angelo who said, "When it comes to pussy, ain't no free."
Yeah,
Right.
it's true.
And
I
I
mean,
was
look,
like ahead of his time on that one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I just like the matter of fact way in which he says it to the girl that he's seeing. I mean, that's arguably D'Angelo's most gangster moment. It's like that's something that we say to the fellas. Come on, man. Hey, bro, I'm taking her to Roost,
He's like,
Chris.
nah.
You taking her to Roost, Chris? Come on, man. You know pussy ain't free, and they're all right, cool. But like to say that to the girl that you're seeing, I was like, God damn, D'Angelo, you don't want to at least change it?
soft peddling shit.
Yeah, change it to vagina, or maybe say love. Maybe say love don't cost a thing, or maybe love does cost a thing. Maybe put it in a in a nice '80s movie Nick Cannon Patrick Dempsey title type of deal. Well, nah, he didn't do that. He just looked a little bit and bit the bacon that she was cooking. She
In his shirt, in his
in
kitchen.
his shirt, bit the bacon that she was cooking, and then said, "Yo, ain't nothing free when it comes to pussy." I'm like, wow, all right, but that scene works. By the way, let's talk about that scene real quick. That's a scene right there that lets you know the level of comfortability that D'Angelo and Chardine are starting to have with each other. She's cooking for him. He's telling her, things are getting basically serious. He's talking to her about past relationships and his baby's mom. Um, and I think that that's a scene where we first start to see that this thing between them is going to become a thing.
Yeah, and I cracked up because even though the relationship is blossoming, as you pointed out, um, she still. I was like, why she go? She still didn't mind taking a shot at his mama. She was like, your mama don't know me. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
you got a live one there.
Yeah, your mama don't know. And by the way, your mama don't know shit about me.
I was like,
whoa.
damn. All right, okay, fresh out the gate there. Did you have a best reflection or worst reflection of real life from this particular episode?
The best reflection of the world of real life is the word lit. The word lit was used in here. Not only the best reflection of real life, but it's also what aged the best. When the other police officer, the white police officer, his name escapes me right now, the drunk guy, he comes in. McNulty goes on. McNulty looks at him and goes, 9 in the morning, he's already lit. I'm like, oh shit.
Little did we
It's
know.
lit. Little do we know. Did The Wire invent the term lit? I know that lit typically meant drunk, but now lit means in any way having a great time. You know what I mean? Is he already lit? Like, Van, you lit? Your dog, I was lit. So I'm like, yeah. So that was kind of like one of the best reflections of real life for me, and a sort of what's aged the best reflection of real life at the same time. But another best reflection of real life is just uh to me, um Wallace himself and the way the character reacted to the murder. I just know a lot of kids that there was a breaking point. You know what I mean? They did all of this stuff, and that there was a breaking point. The worst reflection of real life to me seems to be this thing that's going on between Hurt, Carve, and Bodie. We see in this episode, Bodie, uh, Stringer sees promise in Bodie, so Stringer and the Barstow organization, decide they're gonna have Levy bring Bodie home. They bring him home, and Herc and Carver are right back on Bodie again. They walk up to him, wild out on him, do the whole thing, then they give him a ride down to their grandmother's house. It just seems like them having that particular relationship with him. I've never heard of anybody talking about a back and forth, them going on with one or two cops. I know that there's one or two cops that do these things. There was an officer, there's a guy named Friendly. They called him Friendly in South Baton Rouge. But as far as any of my homies getting in his car and then riding home with him,
is this also a we love this show but too?
I mean, it not as much. But I just don't know what if Bodie knows in that situation what it looks like to be working with the cops or dealing with the cops. I also don't know why he would feel like, because remember, Omar was so afraid, or they asked Omar if he would want to be seen riding with a cop. Bodie asked the cops for a ride home. So at that particular time, that one just seemed like a worse reflection of real life for me.
Yeah, that one, I would definitely agree with you about that one, because it did. There were times with Hurt Carver. I know they Hurt Carver and Bodie where they would have some surprising moments, but they'd have some horribly uncomfortable moments, particularly as their continued beatings of Bodie. It did get to a point where you were just like, wow, this is a little much. So of course, I'm not gonna let this episode go past without your favorite thing, a Stringer Bell fuckboy moment.
No.
It's happening. It's happening. You need to stop resisting. It's happening. So naturally.
Jamil. Jamil, be careful. Be careful. You know what you just said?
Mm.
You just said you need to stop resisting. It's happening. They're gonna take that clip, Jamil. They're
Why
gonna take
you
that.
giving people ideas?
They're gonna take that clip, and you're gonna be all over Breitbart.
Oh, jeez, I know. Suddenly, yeah, I know. I'm gonna be against consent, right? That'll be what.
Stop, Jamel Hill. Stop resisting. It's just happening. So funny. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm glad you're amused by this.
Right.
So, as as you all recall, if you've been watching up to this point, it was Stringer who gave D'Angelo the plan to basically, start bleeding his underlings dry because then he'd be able to find out who the snitch was because they thought it was a snitch. They have not caught on that the police are on to them and are have amped up their surveillance. They think they got a snitch in the ranks. And they're also somehow unaware of the fact that an organization that has become as big and as successful as they somehow don't factor in that, oh, Omar could have just simply been watching you because it's not like you're doing this stuff in such a James Bond style way that they would not be able to understand that you were moving your stash houses. So Stringer Bell gives D'Angelo this plan. All right, you bleed the underlings, you'll figure out the person that's still eating, that's the one that's doing the snitching.
Right. When you say bleed, you mean don't pay them.
Don't pay them. That's exactly right.
Right.
Not literally bleed,
Yeah.
which I guess I should clear up given the nature of the series, right?
Yeah.
But it does not unearth a snitch because, of course, it wasn't no snitch, as we all know. What it does is causes two people in the crew to start stealing, which is Cass. Cass was one. I can't remember the other character's name. Start stealing. And so one of the scenes that happens in this episode is that D'Angelo breaks a bunch of eggs because he sees her coming from the store because he has noticed and caught on to the fact that they were stealing from him because he wasn't paying them. So basically, Stringer Bell and his fuckboy plan once again backfired because all it did, luckily D'Angelo was smart enough not to punish them for something that he incited. When you don't pay people who are working, yes, they're more likely to hate your ass and steal from you, which is why it was always a bad plan, which I'm not surprised because it came from Stringer. So there you go.
Okay. So I just got Jamel, the glass is half empty Hill. I guess the glass is half empty everywhere except for in Detroit, where they'll give you a glass of ice so that you can fill that motherfucker up. But look, this is the way I look at it. It's just as important to find out that there's not a snitch as it is to find out that there is a snitch. Because if there's not a snitch, and I'm going to be the Stringer Bell apologist on this podcast, I can see already. If there's not a snitch, then you need to know that so you can find out what it is. You just didn't like Molly's Game or Rock and Roller or No Good Deeds or one of these other. I think this is an Idris Elba thing for you.
It's not.
I'm gonna have to,
I love Idris Elba. I do.
I don't know.
I do,
don't know,
totally.
Man. Were you the one that was against the James Bond thing? I don't know.
I actively campaign. There are Twitter receipts. I actively campaign for Idris Elba to be James Bond.
You just hate Stringer. At least Stringer, be honest. You know what I want you to do? I want you to say something nice about Stringer Bell about this episode. Just do it. Say something nice about Stringer. Say something nice about Stringer Bell.
I mean, he completes sentences sometimes. I guess that's good, I don't think it's a bad character. People need to make the distinction. I am not saying Stringer Bell is a very good character. It's the people who can really act, who really are great at their jobs, that they make you have an emotionally visceral reaction to their very existence. And I also, maybe I'm going so hard on Stringer because I'm ashamed of myself. I'm ashamed that the first time that I saw The Wire, I was too blinded by Idris Elba's fineness. I was too blinded. I did not realize that ultimately he was playing a despicable character that I should have hated from the beginning. And I blame that on Idris. You distracted me.
Well, look, the dude is tall.
The dude is tall.
Yeah. I don't know what to say.
I was so distracted that now that we are doing this podcast and I'm able to take a deeper, more introspective look, I have come over to the side of right. I am on the right side of history, and Stringer Bell is a fuckboy. So you can look forward to these moments in every podcast in which I will point out in great and stunning detail the accuracy of his fuckboyitude.
And who won the episode for you?
Who won this episode?
Yeah.
The game won this episode. The game
Interesting.
won this episode because of what we see unfolding with Wallace. Here is somebody, as we've said throughout this podcast, and in particular when we're talking about him strictly, is that here is somebody who, although involved in the game, had a very naive idea of what the game was really about, despite the seriousness of what he was doing, who he was around, and in great and stunning detail, he is able to find out, discover, or be hit with reality that he is not just somebody who is a more of a commerce participant in this. Like, he's not just making money on this. This is not just a job. This is something that he can get other people killed with just a word. He doesn't have to
Mm.
have a gun in his hand. He doesn't have to be selling somebody some bad drugs, or continue to sell somebody drugs. That literally his words can cost somebody his life, cost somebody their life, and not just cost them their lives, but they can get bloody, tortured, abused in a way that's completely inhumane. And seeing how this puts Wallace on a particular path, the winner is definitely the game, because the game got another one. They're all a part of this game. They all eventually have their own um, come to Jesus moment with the game. But with Wallace is so much more stunning and powerful, because he was never cut out for this to begin with. And that's
Mm.
exposed, and the power that this game can have over young men like him is very perfectly on display. So I got the game. Who do you have?
I got Wallace. I think Wallace won the episode just because this episode is kind of toned in the it's told in the tone of his character. He's got the, in terms of the when we talk about who won the episode, you know, with the with a lot of Ringer podcasts, it's like a almost a differing way that you kind of come to that conclusion, right? Who was the coolest in an episode? Who had the biggest? If you're doing a Game of Thrones episode, it's very easy to kind of figure out who won that episode, who might have done the coolest stuff, whatever. Um, with the Wire, it's always going to be about impact for me. Who impacted the episode the much? That's why I really like your answer. My answer is Wallace. I feel like Wallace had the most impact. He didn't have the most scenes. Um, Wallace had the most impact in this episode. It was almost told through the tone of his character. It almost kind of took on the tone of his character. This episode did. It was kind of forlorn, like very weighty. It was a lot about loss. It was about what Wallace lost. It's about what Omar lost. You know what I mean? So that kind of had to do a lot with this particular one. Something else I want to point out about this episode is also the episode where I realized that two characters have a lot in common: Daniels and D'Angelo.
Oh, do tell. I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have my respect. Now you got my attention.
Okay. So here's the thing: when D'Angelo finds out that Cass is stealing, what does he do? He takes her off the stash and puts her on. D'Angelo finds out that Cass is stealing. What does he do? He takes her off the stash and puts her on lookout. Does he
he
tell
covers for her.
covers for her? Did he tell String, Stink, Weebay, and Avon that she was stealing? No. Do you know why? She ends up like Brandon if he does that. When Daniel sees that one of his detectives is drunk, or that one of his detectives has done something, what does Daniels do? Does he sell them out to the? No, he never does. What he always does is, within the system that he knows eats people and spits them out, he knows that system. He can access that system, and he protects his people. These are both guys in middle management places that they probably didn't think that they were going to be in, and they have to make decisions at some point about how uh, how allegiant they're going to be. Excuse me, how much allegiance they're going to show to the rules, and how much allegiance they're going to show to their people. Now we see Daniels make a decision in this episode to actually kind of break chain of command in favor of his people. And we're gonna see a little bit later on D'Angelo do the exact same thing. He doesn't quite do it here, but he's gonna do it the exact same thing. So when I looked at these characters, uh, even though they're on opposite ends of the spectrum, they remind me a lot of each other in the way they got the backs of their people and just kind of the way they view things. You know, obviously Daniels is a little bit more cut out for what he's doing, and he probably has a different motivation for being a career cop than D'Angelo Barksdale does for being a career criminal. But I just saw these guys, and I'm like, look at them, look out for people. Look at them, understand that what happens to people. Um, and they also kind of were guys that were both kind of controlled by the people above them in a real way. One guy, the thing that was controlling him was the fact that his uncle was kind of running things, his uncle who was family. The other guy, the thing that was controlling him is that Burrell has something on Daniels. And so because he has something on Daniels, Daniels feels a sense of allegiance to him. So they have to operate within these entire things to make sure that people who they're in charge of don't get exploited, A, and don't get fucked up, worse for mistake that they've made, B. And I just kind of saw that come in this episode.
No, that's a great observation because they're both classic middle managers where they have
classic middle managers.
Yeah, just enough power to do a few things, but not enough power to really change the culture of where they are. I'll mention before we get out of here, my file this away later moment was, Omar gives a bird up on the gun, and that gun becomes a major piece to something that we're going to see quite soon. I think the next episode, essentially. So that was a key moment because of what it will lead to. And, also a little piece of trivia. Got some for you. So you mentioned
I love this.
Yeah, you mentioned the drunk cop that Daniels tries to get together, gives him two choices: either go dry out or get your ass the hell up out of here, do something. Or no, he said dry out or go up to the rooftops with your drunk ass and actually contribute to do something or whatever.
Right.
So if you recall in this episode, the drunk cop visits his boy, the one that got punched out, they got fired on by Bodie in the hospital. That cop, the one who got fired on by Bodie, is the father of TJ Quinn. And for those who are like, who the hell is TJ Quinn? TJ Quinn is an investigative reporter at ESPN. Him and Mark Fairnuwata wrote the book Game of Shadows, which brought down Barry Bonds.
Wow.
Did I blow your mind?
You did.
Yes, that
I
is
love
his
Game
dad.
of Shadows. What was the homie? I call this dude the most solid dude in the history of the world. The homie that Barry Bonds has that went to whoa,
homie forever,
homie forever.
Yes,
doing time for his man. Yeah, no, I remember Game of Shadows. That is an actual. Oh, by the way, I got something. I got a tidbit for you. Not now, later on.
Okay.
I got one for you. Shout out to a homie at Twitter. I'm gonna give him some credit. But somebody, shout out to everyone at Twitter who is loving the show and giving us a tons of feedback and tons of little tidbits, things that we might have even missed. We love when you guys interact with us on the show. It's fantastic. But that's a good one. Game of Shadows. You brought it all together. I love that one.
Yeah, and Greg Anderson, would he be the Tony Stark of Homeboys? Would he be the greatest one?
Let me tell y'all something. Y'all all talking about somebody somewhere that held it down for their homie. No one has held it down for their homie like Greg Anderson. Greg Anderson did that time, said, I'm not saying shit. I'm not saying shit. Is he out now? Did he eventually get out?
I think he did eventually get out. He had a nice little beard, but it wasn't like a forever beard. So I assume
if I'm Greg Anderson, Barry Bonds, you got to be able to get whatever I need. Barry, I like, you know what I'm saying? Send 6 tons of lobster to my crib with the butter already on them. If I want that, you better send it. My farthest away moment for later moment was one line, which I feel like is indicative of this show. After Daniels goes to bat for major crimes in order to, because just a recap, a little quick recap, like you said before, Rawls wants the Deandra murder to be brought in, and they want to charge D'Angelo Barksdale, the Deidre murder to be brought in. They want to charge D'Angelo Barksdale with that murder. If they do that, they know that the cops are on them. The Barksdale organization knows the cops are on them. They change up, wire dies, so that can't happen. Daniels goes to bat for everyone, for major crimes, to give them like another month, and the call rolls off. Uh, and when he comes back into the office, and he gives McNulty and the rest, everybody in the news, I think it's Kima, McNulty, and Daniels that are in the room. McNulty, being self-centered as he is, just sort of gets gleeful, runs away because he had almost dared Daniels to do something to keep the case going. Lester looks at Daniels and asks one question that is not just a file this away moment for later in The Wire. It's a file this away moment for later in life, but it's kind of the central question of the show to me. He says, "What did it cost you?" And that's always the thing in The Wire that we keep coming back to. The systems in this show are so concretely ingrained that if you play by those systems, you'll probably be okay. But when you do the right thing, the thing that's in your heart, the question that comes back and forth in The Wire is, what did it cost you? What do you have to give up to do something right? And the reason why Lester asked that question and McNulty didn't is because Lester had been around. Lester had done things the right way long enough to know that it always cost you something. He had been in the pawn shop unit for 13 years. Why? Because he did the right thing. It always costs. McNulty is going to learn that lesson, just not quite yet.
Yeah, no, that's a great file this away for later moment because this is what made the show so compelling. Good deeds on this show are 95% of the time never rewarded. Never rewarded. Everybody has to answer for acting like a human being, for doing the right thing, for even basically just doing their job. You get penalized for all of that. So
Yep.
that was a very poignant question for Lester to ask. All right, that's going to do it for us. Like Van said, and I definitely echo those sentiments. Like, thank you all just for the feedback in general that you've given this podcast so far. It's been really beyond what I could have possibly imagined. I know Van probably feels the same way. And continue to dialogue with us as we go through this journey together. It doesn't matter if you watch The Wire one time, never watched it 6 times, whatever. We hope that you enjoy these deep dives and this introspective conversation into what is the greatest series of all time. Don't add us, don't debate us, nothing. It is the greatest series of all time. So, anyway, keep listening to us, keep watching The Wire, and we'll see you next time.
steps out at the 32-yard line.
It could be that the offensive coordinator is trying to lure the secondary in to play more press coverage, and then they'll try to take advantage by going deep. Those safeties better be ready.
From their own 32-yard line, it's second down. They'll bring him down at the 31-yard line. That took a little too long to develop.
Yeah, the offense was trying to get the pass rush going upfield, but the defense did a nice job of sniffing out the draw play and hitting them in the backfield.
The cavalry's coming. The Gators using their third and final timeout. Right, back to return it. He makes it out to maybe the 39-yard line. He did a good job there to give his team decent field position. They moved the ball very effectively on their last drive, which ended with a touchdown. The defense has been talking it over on the sideline, trying to make some corrections. Let's see if they can stop them this time.
I love to watch a quarterback when he can really get into sync with his wide receivers. These guys have worked all week on their preparation to attack this defense, and right now it's really paying off.
A great first half comes to a close. 14-13, Gators. Welcome back to the action. Second half just about set to begin. We got a tight game here. And he got all of this one. Great kick. So we're just about ready to return to action. Florida up a point.
Kill it, motion me out.
And a quick throw.
That's just a great call by the coordinator there, going to the air on first down.
It's first and 10. Ball on the 45-yard line. In the shotgun and 5 wide out. He's on the run. Airing it out long. Throws to the receiver. Got it for the touchdown. He splits the uprights with the extra point. A quick two-play, 75-yard drive, and a touchdown to result.
Boy, that is scoring in a hurry. This offense is looking more and more explosive.
The score now, 21-13. Edwards has his kick team lined up, and he is set to kick this one off. He's to the 20. He's taken down at the 30. Florida's coaches just got to be happy. I'd love to coach a kid like this.
Oh, I think these coaches love to coach a guy like this, and another great performance by him individually and for this offense.
There's still plenty of time to keep running their offense as usual here. I don't think they need to feel any anxiety about trailing. Nice run there. The halfback picks up maybe 5 yards on the draw play. Second and 5. He makes it to the 38-yard line.
Game 3 on the play. That'll bring up 32.
the 39-yard line.
That'll make it 4th and 2.
Carter is waiting for the snap. He'll take it from the 18. He makes it out maybe to the 26-yard line.
Return for a gain of 8 yards.
I was really impressed with their last series. They came out with a focus on the passing game, and the offense got the job done. We'll see if they have the same strategy here.
Scrambling around. Going deep. And he stays in bounds, and he hauls in a big one.
Well, you give up too many passes like that, and the game will be done before you know it. They cannot let these receivers get behind them.
Now it's 1st and 10 after the big pass play. Florida up by 8. He's at the 30, and he's taken down at the 28.
Gain of 14 yards. First down.
Out of bounds at the 26-yard line.
Gain of 2 yards. That makes it 2nd and 8.
It's 2nd down and 8. Ball on the 26. Makes it to the 11.
The offensive coordinator has to be elated with the way his offense right now is executed. They're not in a hurry, but they're very, very methodical and very consistent with their approach. That's the 3rd first down that they've picked up on this drive.
Fires back to the tailback, but he can't bring it in.
Henderson, the intended receiver on the play. That makes it 2nd and 10.
So it's 2nd and 10. Ball on the 11. Now he tries to buy some time. He's knocked out of bounds at the 12. From the 12-yard line. 3rd down. Florida holds an 8-point advantage. Touchdown, Gators. Pretty good looking touchdown drive the last time these guys were out there. He's scrambling. Caught. Open field. He's tackled around the 16-yard line.
That's good for a gain of 11 yards. That makes it 1st and 10.
From their own 16-yard line, it's 1st down. Quick strike, and he drops it.
Shaw, the intended receiver on the play. That makes it 2nd and 10.
It's almost picked off. The defense really missed a golden opportunity there.
That's what separates a good player from a great player. When you have a chance like that, you need to take advantage of it.
It's 3rd and 10. Ball on the 16. 5 guys will be out in the pattern as they're in the shotgun. He scrambles. Quick toss. He hauls it in and gets out of bounds. So with 1 quarter remaining. Florida leads 28-13. Back in this very pivotal 4th quarter. Slings it. Brought down at the 38. And that completion gives him over 300 yards through the air.
This young man really works at it, and it's always a boost to see that hard work reflected in the box score. He should be very pleased.
And even though they're comfortably in the lead, it doesn't look like they're going to stop passing the ball. From the 38-yard line. 1st down. Quick throw, and he's got the halfback again. And he's tackled at the 37-yard line.
Stevens on the technical at the 37-yard line. That brings up 2nd and 9.
From the 37-yard line. 2nd down. They'll line up with 5 wide receivers. Throws complete. He's got room to work. Tackle around the 25-yard line.
That's good for a gain of 12 yards. That makes it 1st and 10.
This is the 8th play of this drive. They'll spread the field here. Let's see what the defense does with a 5-wide outlook. He's going to try and scramble. Passes back across his body, but nobody there.
Morris was the intended receiver on the play. That makes it 2nd and 10.
2nd down, 10 to go. Ball on the 25-yard line. Tackle made at the 14-yard line.
Gain of 11 yards. 1st down.
Here's play number 10 on the drive.
This whole drive has been an exhibition in ball control by this offense. Everything seems to be working right now.
This is the 11th play of this drive. gets the ball. And down he goes at about the 5-yard line. They're at the 5. Second down. Less than 3 minutes in the game. Touchdown, Florida!
Oh, that's a great job of some tough running right there. When you get close to the end zone, things get very tight, and it's tough to maneuver.
Both teams are well aware that a score on this drive is going to create an almost insurmountable lead. This defense has really got to step it up and make a stop. And they got it. The Hurricanes will use their first time out of the half.
Man, as an offensive lineman, this is the worst thing that you want to see. Is your quarterback not only getting sacked, but getting hit like that. Those linemen better pick that quarterback up and start doing a better job of taking care of it.
Defense looking for another sack in this second down and long situation. Just over a minute left. Tackled after a decent run up the gut. The Hurricanes use their second timeout. The stop around the 21-yard line. Miami's called their final timeout. From the 21-yard line, first down. Quick shot, the defender tips it away. So he keeps it, and he gets a big first down.
The quarterback made a very good decision here not to pitch. He saw a break in the defense and just hit it for a big gain.
First down, 10 to go. Ball on the 11-yard line. Now he pitches it. He gets out to about the 9-yard line. Under a minute left in the game. There's a strike complete. He's taken down at the 8-yard line.
better decisions than that. He should have known that there was no room to squeeze that ball in there.
glad to have you with us in the studio. I'm Reese Davis, bringing you the EA Sports NCAA Football 14 pregame show presented by Nissan. Innovation that excites.
It gets so hot in this place, they had to invent a new kind of drink to keep the players hydrated. It's Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, home of the Florida Gators. UCLA is lined up for the opening kickoff, so here we go. And he got all of this one. Great kick. He's to the 20. And he's tackled at the 28-yard line. Abrams' ability to throw the football has got everybody talking. Whenever he decides to turn pro, he might be a very good one, Kirk.
Brad, every quarterback at any level, the two things you have to see from them is decision-making and accuracy. And not only does he have decision-making and accuracy, he also has a really strong arm. And when you combine all those things together, it's no wonder that the people up at the next level are already taking a good, hard look at him.
Now the offense gets ready to take their first crack at it. Tackle at about the 37-yard line. They go with a run, and that'll be a gain of 9.
Brings up 2nd and 1.
From their own 37-yard line, it's 2nd down. Up the middle for a nice gain.
It's a nice read by the quarterback to keep the ball and pick up some yardage.
From their own 41-yard line, it's 1st down. Defensive coordinator anticipating this 5-wide set, and he comes in with his dime package. He scrambles. And a quick throw. He gets hit out of bounds. Right around the 30. Big gain there for the 1st down.
There was some miscommunication down there by the defense that allowed for that big gain.
Down, 10 yards to go. Ball on the 30. They come out at a 5-wide set. He's going to try and scramble. He's at the 20. Tackle made at about the 15-yard line. They move the sticks after another 1st down.
Impressive drive by this offense so far. I really like what they're doing by keeping this defense on their heels and moving the ball downfield.
Down around the 15-yard line.
No gain on the play. That makes it 2nd and 10.
From the 15-yard line, 2nd down. And he's taken down at the 3.
The option's one of the more difficult plays to defend. The defense went after the quarterback, which left the running back with plenty of room.
They put everyone up on the line. Touchdown, Gators. And he adds the extra point. Here's an update from the studio and Reese Davis.
They are lighting up the scoreboard again in the Big 12.
Everyone's all lined up and ready for the kickoff. He sends this one deep. This one's going to be down in the end zone for a touchback. So let's see what the offense can do as they come out onto the field. He makes it out maybe to the 26-yard line.
That brings up 2nd and 9.
From their own 26-yard line, it's 2nd down. Zips it to the back. And they make the stop at the 33.
That's a gain of 7 on the play. That'll bring up 3rd and 2.
Really one of the very tough places to play in college football, and it's no different today. Pretty good gain on the play by the halfback.
This young man ran with some purpose there and picked up 6 yards.
First and 10. Ball on the 39-yard line. And it's caught, and he's brought down quickly.
That's a gain of 4 on the play. That makes it 2nd and 6.
He fights forward to about the 46. And once again, they'll come to the line trying to convert on 3rd down. This crowd can really be intimidating for an opposing team. He fights forward to about the 49. Robinson gains around 3 yards on the run. Jones to punt. This one's going to be down in the end zone for a touchback.
I think this defense right now needs somebody to try to lift up their spirits. They seem to really be just out there kind of going through the motions. And I think the last time they were out there where they gave up such a long drive has had an impact and an effect negatively on the psyche of this defense.
It's 2nd down now. They're just a few feet away from that 1st down marker. Florida up 7 points. Brought down after a nice run up the middle. Not a lot of offense in quarter number 1, but nonetheless, we've got a close game. The Gators with a touchdown lead. Welcome back here. We resume action now here in the 2nd quarter. A quarterback in the gun with 5 receivers. Fires that quickly, incomplete.
Brad, this is a good job by this defense of getting after the quarterback. And until this offense finds a way to slow down that pressure, if I'm the defensive coordinator, I continue to dial up the blitz.
From their own 35-yard line. 2nd down. 5 wide. Going long. He's got his receiver with nobody around him. And he scores. Touchdown. Hits the PAT. A 4-play, 80-yard drive, and a touchdown as a result.
Boy, that is scoring in a hurry. This offense is looking more and more explosive.
They line up to kick this one away. Excellent kick. And it goes into the end zone, down for a touchback. It was a pretty one-sided first quarter, but I wouldn't be surprised if things changed in a big way before halftime. They'll bring him down right around the 24-yard line.
It's a great play by the defense, but it really makes you wonder, was there a miscommunication up front by the offensive line? They just seemed to allow the defensive line to get through, and the running back didn't have much of a chance at all.
2nd and 11 coming up now. Ball on the 24-yard line. Decent run here, right side.
That's good for a gain of 7 yards. 3rd down.
And this crowd is going absolutely crazy. Handoff, and he's met in the backfield.
It's a good surge by the defense. They really disrupted the timing on that play and gave them no chance to get the first.
Jenkins is back deep to return the punt. And he's taken down at the 37-yard line.
Return for a gain of 7 yards.
You think about the challenges these two teams are facing. On one side, you've got to find a way to keep building on your lead, and on the other side, you've got to find a way to get back in it. They'll spread the field with 5 wide. Now he's scrambling. He wants it all, going long. It's broken up.
Aggressive play going for the deep ball, but the corner stayed with it all the way and made a good move to break it up.
2nd and 10.
Second down and 10 to go. Ball on the 37-yard line. 5 guys will be out in the pattern as they're in the shotgun. He's scrambling. He's at the 40, and it's caught. He's taken down at the 32-yard line. Offense lines up in a 5-wide set, and the defense anticipating pass here. He lets it go. So on first down, they go to the air and pick up huge yardage.
Well, that was just a well-executed play. They picked the perfect time to stretch the defense with a passing play, and it worked.
First and goal from the 3. Let's see if they can muscle this one in. Touchdown, Florida! He splits the uprights with the extra point. So a 4-play, 64-yard drive, and they come away with 7 points.
I think the big thing there, Brad, is that they were able to execute the passing game. When you can get big plays and great execution, obviously you can move the ball down the field.
The score now, 21-0. This one's going to be down in the end zone for a touchback. It's still only the second quarter. We've got a lot of football left, but I've got to say, this one is teetering on the brink of a blowout. Nice run there. Powell gets about 4 yards on the play.
Gain of 4 on the play. That
from their own 29-yard line. Second down.
36.
And down he goes, around the 24-yard line. Complete across the middle. That series left the offense scratching their heads a little.
You'd always like to move the ball at least past midfield, if only to win the field position back. The defense wasn't going to give them anything on that drive.
Jones is the punter. Looking for the corner. Jenkins takes it to 25. They'll bring him down at the 29-yard line. Abrams has been known to be such a great quarterback, but when you sit down with him in person and you look at him, you see that smile, and he just sort of exudes that confidence that you want in a guy that's playing under center. We saw that this week.
Absolutely, Brad. I can remember earlier this week when he walked out of our meeting, I looked over at you, and we just kind of nodded our heads in agreement that this kid kind of has that it factor that you look for from quarterbacks. Obviously, he's very talented, but I think he has the confidence that you're speaking of, and I think he just brings the intangibles to the table. And so far, how can you not be impressed with everything that he's done?
He's had it in the first half so far. From their own 42-yard line. First down. They'll line up with 5 wide receivers. Scrambling around. He's got to throw it in a hurry. He's at midfield.
This is a nice run for the first down by this quarterback.
Up a yard of anything on that run.
One thing about this linebacker over the years that separates him from the rest are his instincts and ability to make the play. That's a nice tackle by the senior.
Second down, 10 yards to go. Ball on the 48-yard line. Quarterback all by himself in the backfield with 5 wideouts. He rolls out to the right. Gets it out quickly. He's tackled right around the 20.
His secondary better tighten it up if they're going to slow down this drive.
They come out in an empty backfield. He's on the run. He's under pressure. He steps out at the 15-yard line. Abrams comes away with 5 yards on the scramble there.
Wade comes in at quarterback.
From the 15-yard line, it's second down. The 10. Tackle at the 2.
Maybe after a nice run like that, you try to go up in the air for the play-action pass.
The Gators use their second timeout. First and goal from the 1, looking to punch this one in. And he's tackled at the 5-yard line.
That's a loss of 3 yards. That brings up second and goal.
I got one. 51's Mike. Mike 51. Hey, check. Hey, check.
He scrambled. And he's going to be sacked for a loss. Florida's called their final timeout.
Well, we talked all week with these coaches, and even when we met with them yesterday out in practice, they told us there were some big concerns about facing these defensive ends. They thought that they might be able to hold up against him, maybe get the ball out of the pocket a little bit quicker, maybe use running backs and tight ends to help with double teams on the outside. Right now, whatever they thought they might be able to do, you better get back to that drawing board because these defensive ends are just too quick.
Tackle made at the 3-yard line.
That's a gain of 3 on the play. That brings up 4th and goal.
Touchdown, Gators.
Wow. Complete dominance so far on both sides of the football. For one side, I have a feeling this game is going to feel a lot longer than 60 minutes.
He makes the PAT. A 10-play, 72-yard drive, and they come away with a touchdown. So the score now, 28-0. Well, we're headed to the half, and this game is... All right, Reese and David, you guys just sit there in your easy chairs. Kirk and I have work to do here in this third quarter. Hopefully it's going to get better. And he got all of this one. Great kick. And it goes into the end zone, down for a touchback. The Gators continue to get it done on the defensive side of the football, Kirk.
Yeah, they've done a good job of building this lead and almost determined here to protect it. Let's see if they can hold on here for the rest of the way.
I hope they show some fight here and try to stay competitive. If you're going to get blown out, you at least want to go down swinging. He's out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
Good for a gain of 6 yards. That'll make it 2nd and 4.
They're about 4 yards away here on 2nd down. Got it. Complete, and he's out of bounds. He put the ball in there perfectly that time.
And let me tell you, this kid has impressed me all day with the touch on his passes. That's a good-looking throw there.
Fires quickly to the tight end. And they make the stop at the 46-yard line.
Call it a gain of 7 yards. That'll bring up 2nd and 3.
2nd down, and they're going to need about 3 yards to pick up the first down. Got his receiver, but it's knocked out.
Fencing the intended receiver on the play. That makes it 3rd and 3.
Here's the halfback. Gets out to around the 45.
That's good for a gain of 9 yards. That makes it 1st and 10.
From the 45-yard line, it's 1st down. Now he tries to buy some time, and he's going to come up with a sack. UCLA's got a guy behind center that can really do it all, Herbie. I mean, he's a dual threat. He can hurt you with his feet and his arm. With this guy, it's PYP. Pick your poison. From the 46-yard line, 2nd down. And he throws it away.
Great job by the defense of getting after that quarterback. And right now, I think they've got him with some happy feet. He appears to be a bit rattled.
This is the 8th play of this drive. And they get the sack. They get to the quarterback and end that play before it even got started.
This young man didn't even have a chance to make something happen. It's tough to find your receivers when the defense is in your face like that.
After the sack, it's now 4th and long. Jones to punt. From the 15, he's tackled at the 21. Flag on the play. Let's see what it is.
Personal foul. Clipping. Receiving team.
That's frustrating for a coach when you preach fundamentals every week and then have someone called for clipping. That penalty really is going to set them back.
From their own 10-yard line. First down. Florida in control. He's going to try and scramble. The cavalry's coming. Brought down around the 26-yard line. First down, 10 yards to go. Ball on the 26. They come out in a 5-wide set. And he's taken down at about the 49. Makes it to the 41.
It's great when a running attack comes through for the first down like this. It makes an offense so much more versatile.
From the 41-yard line. First down. They'll bring him down to the 39-yard line.
That's a gain of 2 on the play. That brings up 2nd and 9.
From the 39-yard line. Second down. Florida comes to the line in complete control in this game. Looks middle, got his back. He's taken down at about the 31.
Call it a gain of 8 yards. That'll bring up 3rd and inches.
It's 3rd down, and they're about the length of the football away from the first down marker.
Mike 51, Mike 51. Set.
Up the middle for a nice gain.
That's the 5th first down for this offense on this drive. The defense, you can look at it. Their hands are on their knees, hands are on their hips. They're looking tired. This offense right now has this defense exactly where they want it.
From the 27-yard line, it's first down. They'll spread the field with 5 wide. Now he's scrambling. He heaves it to the end zone. Tipped away.
The coaches have to be ecstatic with that kind of effort from the corner. No quit, no getting beat on that long pass.
And this play is number 8 on the drive.
4 down. 51, Mike. Mike 51. Gal.
Gets to about the 27-yard line.
No gain on the play. That brings up 3rd and 10.
We're at play number 9 of this current drive.
4 down.
Florida with a commanding lead. Flips it middle to the running back. And down he goes, right around the 22-yard line.
That's a gain of 5 on the play.
And we reach the end of 3, and this game is all but decided. The Gators with a huge lead. Not sure there's any hope for a comeback here in the fourth quarter, but Kirk and I are praying. He gets it up. No good. He pushed it to the right. Early in the fourth quarter here, and obviously we've got a game that's a blowout. In this situation, you just want to get out of this game without getting anybody hurt. He's scrambling. They bring the quarterback down. It looks like the defensive end that got in there.
Yes, it was. He did a wonderful job of fighting off blocks to bring the quarterback down.
From their own 20-yard line, it's second down. Scrambling around, and he can't get away from the pressure. And this crowd is going absolutely crazy. Here's the halfback on the screen. He's tackled at the 19-yard line. Looks like the defense was in man coverage there, fellas, and that's why they stopped that screen.
Yeah, and when the secondary isn't dropping back into zone, it makes it difficult to have success with that kind of screen play.
Jenkins is back deep to return the punt. He dropped it. He's knocked out of bounds at about the 47-yard line. Both teams are playing out the stretch here. You want to get experience for guys who normally don't get in the game and try to avoid injury. Florida looking to build on this commanding lead here. Over the middle to his tailback. Tackle around the 49-yard line.
That's good for a gain of 3 yards. That'll make it 2nd and 7.
Second down, 7 yards to go. Ball on the 49-yard line. They'll line up with 5 wide receivers. Aaron it out long. And he went way up, and he's got the interception.
Yeah, a mistake like this by a quarterback, even with a big lead, is not going to make the head coach happy. When he walks over the sideline, he's going to feel the wrath of his head coach and offensive coordinator for throwing that ball into coverage.
He gets rid of this one. From their own 27-yard line. Second down. Fires it out. He's at midfield, and he's tackled around the 47-yard line. And the wideout gets a chance to show what he can do.
Oh, he sure does, and he doesn't disappoint either. Great athletic ability.
Throws complete. He's hammered. That last pass was good for maybe 5 yards.
The wide receiver ran a simple out route, and the quarterback did a good job of hitting him in stride to pick up a few yards.
From the 42-yard line, it's second down. A little more than 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. He's on the run, and they got him. He just blew past the blockers and dragged the quarterback down.
Boy, excellent play by the defense here. A few extra seconds, and those receivers might have been open.
Wentz is on it. He stripped the ball right out of his hand.
He had better leverage there, and he just yanked the ball out.
Well, let's see if he can shake off that pick that he tossed last time out.
This quarterback can make good passes. He just needs to focus on not forcing the ball to his receivers.
And the booth is going to take a few looks at this to see whether or not the ball came out before he was down.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field is reversed.
Well, after seeing the replay, it was apparent that his knee was down before he lost the ball.
Yep, those guys in the booth aren't perfect, but they got it right this time.
Florida is going to take their first time out of the half. Jones is the punter. And this one is a beauty. This one's going to be down in the end zone for a touchback. The Gators came out from the opening kick, and they just imposed their will in this game.
Just a complete effort. You can look at the numbers. You can see that the stats show the offense has put up the numbers. The defense has done their job. It's about as good as you can hope for.
Both teams are playing out the stretch here. You want to get experience for guys who normally don't get in the game and try to avoid injuries. Tackle made at the 20. Picked up a yard of anything on that run.
That makes it 2nd and 10.
From their own 20-yard line. 2nd down. They come out in an empty backfield. Throws in a hurry. And got him! And he finally steps out at the 47.
That makes it 1st and 10.
A little over a minute in the game. Nice run there. Abrams gains about 5 yards on the option play.
That brings up 2nd and 5.
2nd down and 5. Ball on the 48-yard line. 5 wide. He scrambles. Decides to tuck it in, and he's got space. And they make the stop around the 36-yard line. Now he tries to buy some time. Under heavy pressure. Brought down right around the 28-yard line. The Gators call a timeout. That's their 2nd of the half. He scrambles there for about 8 yards.
Abrams comes in at quarterback.
Defense goes with the extra defensive backs as the offense comes up 5 wide. He's going to try and scramble. Quick shot. The defender tips it away.
That was a nice play. Anything you can do without being penalized to prevent the offense from moving forward is always a plus.
It's 3rd down, and they're about 2 yards shy of the sticks. They come out in a 5-wide set. Now he's scrambling. Well, a nice stop there late in the 4th quarter, but it's a blowout and has been for most of the game. I think it's time for everybody to go home.
That'll make it 4th
Sure,
and
it's
2.
disappointing, but this is the kind of mechanical flaw you can fix with practice and coaching.
Wade is in at quarterback.
Florida is winning big.
Down! Oklahoma!
inside the 10. Quick throw. Touchdown, Gators. Clock keeper, just keep it moving for Kirk and I, will you? We want to get out of here. He splits the uprights with the extra point. Here's an update from the studio and Reese Davis.
The midshipmen take the field ranked 8th in the nation and hoping to prove they're worthy of so much more. There was never any room to breathe in this game.
Robinson has the ball all teed up, and he's ready to kick this one off. He kicks it off, and he got all of that one. This one's going to be down in the end zone for a touchback. We're late in the fourth quarter. This game has been a blowout for quite some time, and Kirk and I are just looking to make our flights. Finds his receiver, and that's a first down. Inside the 30. He gets hit out of bounds right around the 10-yard line.